Have you ever questioned whether love, the most celebrated emotion in human history, is nothing more than a beautiful lie? What if everything we believe about love, romance, and connection is a well-crafted illusion, not for happiness, but for survival? Nietzsche didn't romanticize love. He didn't call it sacred. He called it a trap, a battlefield disguised as poetry. In his view, love is not a union of souls, it's a war of instincts. A strategic maneuver by nature, designed to control men, empower women, and keep the species alive. And yet, on the other side of the battlefield stands Simone de Beauvoir. She too saw love not as purity, but as conflict. Not between lovers, but within the woman herself. For Beauvoir, love is the arena where woman is asked to give everything. Her mind, her freedom, her identity, in exchange for the illusion of completion. This is not a video about romance. This is a confrontation between two titanic minds who dared to ask the question we still avoid today. Is love real, or are we just seduced by the illusion? Welcome to the thinking war. Love. It's painted across poetry, sung in songs, carved into the walls of ancient temples. We are told it's the pinnacle of human connection, the thing that makes life worth living. But what if we've misunderstood its purpose from the very beginning? This video is not about romantic gestures or heart-shaped cliches. It's about the brutal dissection of love by two of philosophy's most controversial figures, Friedrich Nietzsche and Simone de Beauvoir. Nietzsche, the prophet of power and will, saw love not as unity but as submission, a tool by which the weak control the strong. A clever mask worn by nature to enslave the mind under the illusion of emotion. Simone de Beauvoir, existentialist, feminist, and radical, didn't deny the illusion. She acknowledged it, but she asked, is the illusion the only way women have been allowed to exist? Is love the chain, or is it the only language women have ever been taught? Today we live in a world that preaches emotional equality, but still operates under primal rules. Dating apps, gender wars, psychological games, all built upon an ancient blueprint coded deep into our instincts. So what really is love? A sacred connection? A social construct? Or a beautifully wrapped trap that keeps us running in circles? In this episode of The Thinking War, we don't just explore love. We interrogate it. To Nietzsche, love was not sacred. It was suspicious. Not a divine connection, but a biological manipulation. In his world, love is not the elevation of the soul, but the strategic weaponry of the weak, especially women, used to dominate those stronger than them. He believed love had nothing to do with virtue or moral ideal. Instead, it was nature's way of tricking the strong into serving the needs of reproduction and continuity. Men fall in love not because they are noble, but because they are vulnerable to illusion. Nietzsche saw the language of love as a battlefield, where instincts disguise themselves in poetry. Women, in his view, possess a primal genius for this battlefield. They do not fight with brute force but with subtlety, softness, seduction. With need, beauty, and charm. All tools to secure protection and power without confrontation. A woman wants to be conquered, not respected, he once claimed. Not because she is weak, but because conquest gives her control over the conqueror. For Nietzsche, the danger of love is that it anesthetizes the will to power. When a man is in love, he no longer wants to overcome, he wants to be accepted. He loses ambition, turns inward, becomes gentle. And this, Nietzsche argued, is how civilization begins to rot, when men become soft in the name of love. In the Nietzschean world, love is not a fairy tale. It's an evolutionary trap, a deal made with nature, signed in hormones and sealed with delusion. So ask yourself, is love a gift or a surrender of your strength? Simone de Beauvoir never claimed that love was pure. In fact, she believed it was one of the most dangerous myths women are taught to worship. To her, love was not just a feeling. It was a battlefield where a woman fights not only the world but herself. Raised to believe that love is her destiny, her value, her salvation. A woman often sacrifices her identity to become lovable. Beauvoir wrote that women are conditioned to make themselves the object, not the subject, of love. They are taught to attract, to please, to wait. And in doing so, they lose the power to define their own worth. In romantic relationships, the woman often surrenders autonomy in exchange for attention. Not because she is weak, but because she was trained to seek validation through connection. She does not fall in love, she dissolves in it. For Beauvoir, love can become a form of enslavement. Not by force, but by internalized expectation. She saw women trapped between two illusions, that to be loved is to be whole, and that to be independent is to be alone. But she did not reject love altogether. She redefined it. True love, for Beauvoir, was not fusion, but dual freedom. Two beings who stand side by side, complete in themselves, yet choose to connect. It is not about losing oneself in another, but about building a shared space where neither person vanishes. Beauvoir challenged the myth that love should cost a woman her dreams. She believed a woman's highest form of power is not manipulation or seduction, but the courage to be fully herself, even in love. So ask yourself, are you loved for who you are, or for who you've become to be loved? Nietzsche and Beauvoir both unmask love, but they do so from opposite angles, and for opposite reasons. To Nietzsche, love is a cunning trap laid by nature, weaponized by women to manipulate, dominate, and distract men from their higher calling. He sees love as a surrender, not to a person, but to a delusion that softens ambition and dissolves power. A man in love, in Nietzsche's eyes, forgets his purpose. He is conquered not by swords, but by smiles. Beauvoir, on the other hand, sees love not as a weapon women use, but as a prison they are placed in. She argues that women have been conditioned to see love as their only path to meaning, and that, in this pursuit, they lose themselves. She doesn't claim that women manipulate with love. She claims they are manipulated by love. For Nietzsche, love is feminine because it is manipulative. For Beauvoir, love is feminine because it is sacrificial. Both believe love distorts the self. But where Nietzsche blames the lover for being weak, Beauvoir blames the culture for making her believe she must disappear to be worthy of love. So who is right? Is love a battlefield women control, or a battlefield where they are trained to die? This is the true tension between Nietzsche and Beauvoir. Not about whether love is an illusion, they both agree it is, but about who benefits from that illusion, and who pays the price. This is not just a philosophical conflict. It's a war of perspectives, between one who sees through power, and one who sees through pain. We live in an era that worships love but rarely understands it. Dating apps swipe through faces like products. Love songs still echo promises of forever, but divorce rates, ghosting, and emotional burnout tell another story. We have more options, more freedom, more rights, and yet more confusion than ever. What would Nietzsche say about this? He would argue that modern love is the same illusion, just with new packaging. That men are still softened by desire, still tamed by beauty, still distracted by dreams of emotional salvation. And that in an age of instant gratification, love has become even more dangerous. A drug that numbs the will to power and replaces ambition with addiction. And Beauvoir? She would likely see the paradox. Women have more autonomy than ever, and yet many still measure their worth by who loves them. They are told to be strong and independent, but also emotionally available, soft, desirable. They are told to chase careers, but still expected to settle down. She would ask, is this progress, or just a more elaborate trap? Today, love is shaped by algorithms, by carefully filtered photos and perfectly timed messages. But the core remains, instinct, insecurity, and the ancient hunger to feel chosen. Nietzsche and Beauvoir both warned us about this, in their own ways. He warned that love would weaken the mind. She warned it would erase the self. So where does that leave us? Are we building deeper bonds, or dressing up the same primal games in modern clothing? Are we freer, or just more distracted? Is love evolving, or just adapting its illusions? The answers may not be comfortable. But the thinking war was never about comfort. It's about clarity. So now you've heard both voices. Nietzsche, who saw love as a sedative, a force that weakens the ambitious and distracts the powerful. To him, love is a beautiful lie, crafted not by poets but by evolution. And Beauvoir, who saw love as a battlefield where women are conditioned to disappear, to mold themselves into what is lovable, even if it means abandoning their own truth. They both agreed on one thing: love distorts the self. But the crucial difference lies in who they believe is responsible, and who suffers most. Nietzsche blames the illusion for stripping men of their will. Beauvoir blames society for making women live inside that illusion. So ask yourself now, are you chasing love to feel whole, or to avoid feeling empty? Are your desires your own, or are they inherited performances? And if love is an illusion, who benefits, and who disappears? In the thinking war, we do not give answers. We sharpen questions. So tell us, not who you agree with, but what this confrontation revealed to you. Leave your thoughts below, because thinking is not passive.